Konnichiwa minasan. Hey friends, how are you? Welcome to Saral Japani YouTube channel. This is the place where we learn Japanese language, and this is the playlist called Japanese Lessons for Beginners. Today we are at lesson number 108. Past tense of adjectives. Friends, hearing this, you might be falling from the sky because how can there be tense associated with adjectives, isn't it? So we all know that present tense, past tense, future, and other tense forms are associated with the verbs. Then why and how past tense of adjectives? Actually, the thing is, in Japanese, adjectives also have a component of tense or verb, you may say. So adjectives are not pure adjectives. There is some verb component present in them. So that's the reason why when in Japanese, when we talk about any adjective associated to an action that happened in the past, we have to conjugate the adjective as per the rules to indicate that it is a thing of the past. So that's the reason why we have past tense of adjectives in Japanese. So nothing to worry about. We will see how the past forms of adjectives and negative past forms of adjectives of both the i-Adjectives and na-Adjectives are derived, and that is the purpose of today's lesson. So before going into that, recap of the lessons on adjectives that we have done so far. Lesson 94 was on i-Adjectives, 97 was on na-Adjectives, 104 was on the negative forms of adjectives in the present tense, and 105 was conjugation of adjectives. All of these were in the present tense form. So today we are going to look at the past tense of adjectives. So if you did not go through those 4 lessons, I would strongly recommend that you go through those lessons first. Otherwise, you will not understand anything of this lesson, because those are the lessons in which we discussed in detail about various aspects of adjectives and various examples of adjectives of the two categories, i-Adjectives and na-Adjectives. So today's lesson has the prerequisite of those 4 lessons, and you can find the links of those 4 lessons in the description section of today's video. So that is a quick reference for you. Okay, so past tense of i-Adjectives. So i-Adjectives, here are a few examples of i-Adjectives in the present tense form. Tanoshi desu. Tanoshi is enjoyable or fun. Takai desu. Takai is expensive or something whose height is which has a large height like a mountain or a building, or something which is expensive. Then we have nagai desu. Nagai is the adjective for something which is very long in length. Hiroi desu, spacious or wide, and atsui desu, hot. So there are many other adjectives which we learned in lesson 94. So all these are i-Adjectives, and now our aim is to derive the past form of these adjectives. So these are all present forms: Tanoshi, Takai, Nagai, Hiroi, Atsui. So now what do we do to derive the past tense of these adjectives? First step is to remove the E. The ending E we have to remove. So Tanoshi becomes Tanoshi, Tanosh, Tanoshi, and then Takai becomes Taka, Nagai becomes Naga, Hiroi becomes Hiro, and Atsui becomes Atsu. So Tanashi, Tanoshi becomes Tanoshi. Now the next step is we have to add katta. So tanoshikatta, tanoshikatta, takakatta, nagakatta, hirokatta, atsukatta. And finally there will be des. So tanoshikatta des, takakatta des, nagakatta des, hirokatta des, atsukatta des. So these are the past forms of Tanoshi, Nagai, Takai, Hiroi, and Atsui. So that means we have simply replaced the E of the ending E adjective with katta. So this is the summary. And another very important point is that although it is the past form, Tanushkatta, but we don't write deshta. So this does not become deshta. It remains as des. So this is a very, very important aspect. So many people make this mistake that they write Tanushi des becomes Tanushikatta deshta. No, deshta will not be the form. It will be des only because we have already incorporated the past component in katta. Katta is already the past. So it cannot be katta deshta. It will always be katta des. So it's the adjective that gets converted to past form. So the des is the verb. So it remains as des. So very, very important. So Tanoshi, Tanoshkatta, Takai, Takakatta, Nagai, Nagakatta, Hiroi, Hirokatta, Atsui, Atsukatta. Similarly, you can practice with other e adjectives as well. For example, Samui, Samukatta, Kiroi, Kirokatta, Akai, Akakatta, Aoi, Aokatta, and so on. So now let's look at the negative past tense of e adjectives. So we just looked at the positive past tense or the affirmative past tense of e adjectives. Now we will see how to derive the negative forms. So Tanoshi des, it becomes Tanoshi. So you might remember the present negative form which we discussed in lesson 104, I guess. So Tanoshiku arimasen. Tanoshiku arimasen or Takaiku arimasen. Oh, I'm so sorry. This is the E will not be here. Tanoshiku arimasen, Takaku arimasen, Nagaku arimasen, Hiroku arimasen, and Atsuku arimasen. And similarly, we will have Tanoshiku, Tanoshikunai, Takakunai, Nagakunai, Hirokunai, Atsukunai. And you can add the des after nai to make it polite. So arimasen is polite, nai des is also polite, and simply nai is impolite version. So this is how we write the negative present tense of the adjective. So this we have already studied in the previous lesson. So what is new in today's lesson is the past form. So what happens in the negative past form? Tanoshi becomes Tanoshiku nakatta desu. Tanoshiku nakatta desu. Tanoshiku nakatta desu. Takaku nakatta desu. Takai desu becomes Takakuna katta desu. Hirokuna katta desu. Atsuku nakatta desu. So that means nai becomes nakatta. This is the simple way to put it. Nai becomes nakatta. Or arimasen, it becomes nakatta. So there is no other way to represent the negative past forms of e adjectives. It's always kuna katta desu. Tanoshi, tanoshiku arimasen, tanoshikunai, and then in the past forms it will be tanoshi kunakatta desu. So to summarize, the present negative forms are kunai, which is informal, kunai desu or ku arimasen are formal. In the past forms, kunakatta is informal and kunakatta des is formal. So if we don't write the des at the end, we just write tanosh kunakatta or taka kunakatta, then it's the informal. And adding a des makes it formal or more polite. Tanosh kunakatta des, taka kunakatta des, naga kunakatta des, Hiroku nakatta desu and atsu kunakatta desu. So this is how we write the past tense. Now there is one exception as well. I desne. You come across this phrase several times, or I des. So I means good or nice, but the actual word is yoi. The actual adjective is yoi. But somehow I'm not sure about the reason. It is when it is written in the present form, it is written as I, not yoi. So the actual form is yoi, but is written or spoken as I. This is an exception, but only for the present affirmative form. That means only in the present tense we write as I. For the past tense and other forms, we have to write the yoi form. So let's see. So present form is I des. The negative present form is yoku arimasen or yokunai or yokunai desu. Just like any other i-Adjectives negative form. So there is no exception in this. So exception is only in the present affirmative form. In the present negative form, there is no exception. It follows the same rule. Now in the past tense, the yoi becomes yokatta desu. So again, there is no exception here, unlike the present form. And similarly, we remove the I, we remove the E, and we add katta. So E is replaced with katta, yokatta desu. So this is the past tense. And the past negative form will be yo kunakatta desu or yoku arimasen deshita. So here it will be, here again this is an exception because now we can use arimasen deshita in this case. So generally with i-Adjectives we don't use ku arimasen, we just write kunakatta desu, but here this is also allowed, ku arimasen deshita. So this is an important exception, and because this I desne is used very often in the conversational Japanese, so very important to remember the negatives and the tenses associated with this adjective. Next we move on to the na-Adjectives. So all that we studied so far are all i-Adjectives. Now we move into na-Adjectives. Kirei. Kirei means beautiful. Then we have Shizuka, quiet. We have Genki, lively or healthy. We have Benri, convenient. We have Rippa. Rippa means magnificent, or a person with a very high stature or very glamorous kind of magnificent. So it may be man, it may be building, it may be anything. So in the present form of these na-Adjectives, it will be kireides. Kareva kireides. So kireides, shizuka desu, genki desu, benri desu, rippa desu. And the informal form of des is da, as we have seen in a previous lesson in which we distinguish between da and des. So this is just the informal version. So kirei da, shizuka da, genki da, benri da, rippa da. Now, if we translate these to past tense, it will become kirei deshta. So this is very simple. Unlike the i-Adjectives which had katta, this is simple. This becomes deshta. So there is no change in the adjectives in fact. Kirei remains kirei. It doesn't become kire, it doesn't become kireku nakatta. It doesn't become like that. It's just kirei deshta in the past tense. So it doesn't become kirekatta. It doesn't become kirekatta or shizuka katta or something like that. No, because it's not i-Adjective. It remains the same. Only the verb form is changed. So kirei des becomes kirei deshta. Shizuka des becomes shizuka deshta. Genki des genki deshta. Benri des benri deshta. Rippa des rippa deshta. And likewise, kirei da becomes kirei datta. Shizuka da Shizuka datta. Genki da Genki datta. Benri da Benri datta. rippada, rippa datta. So in case of na-Adjectives, des is simply replaced with deshta. So da to des is same as datta to deshta. Now the negative past tense of na-Adjectives. So first we saw the past tense of i-Adjectives, then negative past tense of i-Adjectives, then past tense of na-Adjectives, and now finally the negative past tense of na-Adjectives. So we have the same set of examples: Kirei, Shizuka, Genki, Benri, and Rippa. So in the present form, Kirei des becomes Kirei deva arimasen. Shizuka deva arimasen. Genki deva arimasen. Benri deva arimasen. Rippa deva arimasen. That means this is the present negative form of these na-Adjectives. In the past form, they will become Kirei deva arimasen deshta. Shizuka deva arimasen deshta. Genki deva arimasen deshta. Benri deva arimasen deshta. And Rippa deva arimasen deshta. Now there is an informal version as well, which is Kirei Devanai. So just like Deva Arimasen, we have Devanai as well. So Kirei Devanai, Shizuka Devanai, Genki Devanai, Benri Devanai, and Rippa Devanai. So these will translate to Deva Nakatta. So here you will have Deva Nakatta, but there is no ku here. Kirei Deva Nakatta, Shizuka Deva Nakatta, Genki Devanakatta, Benri Devanakatta, and Rippa Devanakatta. So these are the rules of writing the present, past, negative present, and negative past tense of different adjectives. So please practice all these so that these things get embedded in your mind. Now we will look into a very interesting conversation in Japanese, and which will involve several aspects of Japanese grammar, including these negative and past forms of adjectives. So let's see. So this is a conversation between Tanaka-san, who is Japanese, and Das-san, who is Indian. So Tanaka-san says, Das-san, kino no party wa do deshita ka? Kino no party. That means yesterday's party. So Das, Mr. Das, how was yesterday's party? Das-san, tanoshikatta desu. Tanoshikatta desu. So now this is the past tense. And tanoshi, you know, tanoshikatta is the tanoshikatta. In fact, it's pronounced as tanoshikatta. So it's not tanoshikatta, it's tanoshikatta. So tanoshikatta means it was enjoyable. Tanoshikatta desu. The party was enjoyable. The party was fun. It was fun. Nihon ryori wa daijoubu deshita ka? Nihon ryori. Now, what is Nihon ryori? Ryori is cooking or cuisine. So, as Mr. Das is not a Japanese, so Tanaka-san was wondering how Mr. Das liked the Japanese food. So that's the reason why he asked this question. Nihon ryori wa daijoubu deshita ka? That means, was the Japanese food good? So all these things we have studied earlier, Ryori, Daijobu. So I'm not going to repeat all those in this lesson. So if you have been following the lessons in serial order, then you already know what are all these aspects. So we will concentrate more on the adjectives part in this lesson. So Tanoshikatta is fun. It was fun, the past tense of Tanoshi. Then we have, then Dasan says, Daijobu deshita. Totemo oishikatta desu. いろんな日本料理を食べました。So before I give you the translation, try to understand by yourself what he replied. 大丈夫でした。That means it was good because the question was 大丈夫でしたか? So it's はい、大丈夫でした。That means yes, it was good. とても美味しかったです。とても means very. That means this is an adverb. Oishikatta, oishikatta is the past tense of oishi, which is delicious. That means it was delicious. So as I said that even adjectives have these past forms in Japanese. So oishi becomes oishikatta. So it was very tasty. Ironna nihon ryori o tabemashita. Ironna, this means variety of. This also we have come across in one of the previous conversations. So when you see ironna, that means a variety of. That means I tried or I ate a variety of Japanese recipes or Japanese dishes. So, 大丈夫でした。とても美味しかったです。いろんな日本料理を食べました。It was fine and very tasty. I tried a variety of Japanese dishes. よかったですね. That means that's good. So now it's not いいですね. It's because this is something of the past. The birthday party has already happened the previous day. So he cannot say "いいですね." So it sounds bit odd. It's same as arigato gozaimashita. So in other languages there is no past tense of all these, right? It's always thank you. But here it is arigato gozaimasu, arigato gozaimashita. So same way, "いいですね" becomes "よかったですね." So although it is that's good, but it gives the indication that it's a thing of the past. Now, Das-san asks Tanaka-san a question. Yasumi wa do deshita ka? So now, in the first place, Tanaka-san inquired about the party to Das-san, and now Das-san is asking him another question that how was your vacation? How was your holiday? Tanaka-san, Yasumi wa do deshita ka? How was your holiday? So Tanaka-san says, Totemo tanoshikatta desu. So again the same thing. Very enjoyable, or it was huge fun. Totemo tanoshikatta desu. Again, tanoshikatta is the past tense of tanoshi, and totemo means very. So it was full of fun. Watashi wa kazoku to issho ni umi e ikimashita. Watashi wa kazoku. Kazoku means family. So to issho ni, again, a very important concept that we have learned in we just learned in one of the recent lessons. So watashi wa kazoko to ishoni. That means I with my family. Umi e ikimashita. Umi means sea beach. So I went to the sea beach along with my family. Umi wa kirei deshita. So kirei is the na-Adjective. So it's uh, it's just followed by the deshita. Umi wa kirei deshita. That means the beach was beautiful. So it was a lot of fun. I went to the sea beach with my family. The beach was beautiful. So friends, please practice speaking and writing all these. You can avoid the kanjis by writing them in hiraganas, but do practice so that you remember all these. So Dasan replies, So desu ka? Seiringu o shimashita ka? Oh, I see. Sailing. Did you go sailing as well? That means the rafting on the sea. Tanaka-san says, いいえ、風が強かったからセーリングをしませんでした. This is very, very important sentence, and you can see there are several concepts here. いいえ, that means no. Kaze means wind. 風が強かった. Tsuyokatta comes from the adjective tsuyoi. Tsuyoi means strong or powerful, and tsuyokatta is the past tense of tsuyoi. That means the wind was powerful. And you can see here, Tsuyokatta kara seiringu o shimasen deshita. So this we have learnt in one of the recent lessons that reason kara consequence. So we connect the reason with the consequence using kara. So takai kara kaimasen. That means I did not purchase because of the high price. So here kara means because of. So tsuyokatta kara seiringu o shimasen deshita. That means because the wind was very strong, we did not go sailing. This is the meaning here. 風が強かったからセーリングをしませんでした. Demo. Demo means but. お父さんと一緒に泳ぎました. But we swam. We did swimming with our father. So, いえ、風が強かったからセーリングをしませんでした. でも、お父さんと一緒に泳ぎました. No, we didn't go sailing because the wind was strong, but we swam with our dad. Very, very good example and very, very good conversation. And especially if you are preparing for the JLPTN5, then this conversation is going to help you a lot. So because so many concepts are embedded in all these conversations. So although it looks like a simple single conversation, but several concepts are incorporated here. So finally, Dasan says, "Soreva yokatta desu ne." Then he also says that that's really nice. That's good. So do practice this conversation and loudly so that you have the pronunciation practice as well. Now let's look at some more examples. Kino no eiga wa do deshita ka? How was the movie yesterday? Sumaranai deshita. It was boring. So sumaranai is the e-adjective that we have learned in lesson 94. So it's a direct answer that the movie was boring. But if we want to say it was not interesting, then how do we say? We will say omoshiroku nakatta desu. So this is how we make the negative past form of omoshiroi. Omoshiroi is interesting in present form, and omoshiro katta omoshiro katta is the present is the past positive form, and omoshiroku nakatta is the past negative form. And if we want to make it a little informal, then it will be omoshiroku nakatta yo. It wasn't interesting. Ichigo keki wa oishikatta desu ka? Was the strawberry cake delicious? So be careful here, although it is desu ka, but the question is was, because it is katta is already incorporated. So that's why it is des. It's not deshta. It's not oishikatta deshta ka. No, it will be oishikatta desu ka. This is a very, very important area where students make mistakes very frequently. Ichigo keki wa oishikatta desu ka? Was the strawberry cake delicious? Oishikatta desu. It was delicious. So again, des. It's not deshta. Although it is giving the meaning of was. And we can say hai so deshta. Now here it will be deshta. Hai so deshta means yes, it was. So since the question is was the cake delicious, then you can answer in yes, it was. So if you say yes, it was, it will be so deshta. Now it will not be so des, because then in that case it will become it is. So be very careful, and this is a very good example of the that brings out the difference between this des and deshta when it comes in relation with adjectives and normal sentence. Excellent example. Ryoko wa do deshita ka? How was the trip? Tanoshikatta desu. It was fun. Gohan wa oishikatta desu. The food was tasty. Shosetsu wa omoshiroi desu. Now this is again a present form. So the novel is interesting. Shosetsu means novel. So the novel is interesting. And once you have completed reading the novel, then you can say Shosetsu wa omoshirokatta desu, because now it is the past tense. The novel was interesting. Kyou wa atsui desu. Today it's hot. Kino mo totomo Kino mo totemo atsukatta desu. Yesterday was very hot too. So here we have used the mo particle because since the two sentences are talking about the same thing, so we could have used kino wa as well, but that would reduce the beauty of this conversation. We could have said kyo wa atsui desu, kino wa totemo atsukatta desu. So that will be today it's hot today, yesterday it was very hot. So if we add mo in place of wa, then it will make the sentence sound better. Kyo wa atsui desu, kino mo totemo atsukatta desu. It's hot today. Yesterday it was very hot too. Koto o kaimashita ka? Did you buy the coat? Ie, kaimasen deshita. Takakatta desu. No, I didn't buy. It was expensive. So now let's see this kaimasen deshita. This is the past form of the verb kaimas in the negative sense. And takakatta desu is the past form of the adjective takai. So here it is des, here it is deshta. So this is another good example. Shatsu mo takakatta desu ka? Now the next question is, was the shirt also expensive? So now again here takakatta and des. And the answer this time is Ie, takakunakatta desu. No, it was not expensive. Shatsu o kaimashita. I purchased the shirt. So again, a very, very good example for practicing des, deshta, and the past tense and negative past tense of both verbs as well as adjectives. Kurasu wa dou deshita ka? How was the class? Omoshiro kunakatta desu. It wasn't interesting. Oh my god. So I hope the teacher is not listening. So how was the class? It was not interesting. Omoshiro kunakatta desu. Shiken wa dou deshita ka? How was the exam? Shiken is means exam. So how was the exam? Musushi. Muzukashikatta desu. It was difficult. Oh. Muzukashikatta desu. The exam was, the paper was very difficult. So friends, that's all for today. So we have learned a lot many things with regard to adjectives, especially the past tense, both affirmative as well as negative. So do practice, do watch this video again and again and note down the concepts in your notebook. Otherwise, once the video is gone from in front of the eyes, you will tend to forget. So do practice and do note down all these concepts in your notebook, and do go through all these lessons one more time as revision. So till we meet again, thanks for watching this video. Arigato gozaimasu. Mata imashou.